Let's finally get back to Guy Fawkes and the attempt to blow up Parliament. What is up, winning team? Hello, my belovedly lovelies. It's so nice to see you. And we are going to come back today and finally finish the journey we started November 5th last year, where I was telling you all about how, the 5th of November, we had Bonfire Night. Bonfire Night was always my favourite holiday in the UK. Low-key, depending on how this video ends, because I haven't read these notes since literally I made them last year, it might still be, because I love it, because it's always in November, so it's winter, it's cold, you go out, they've got the bonfire, so I love a fire. I love a fire in the winter, and then you have all the freaking fair food, all the rides, all the arcade games, and fireworks. Actually, all my favourite things in one place. The only thing that would make it better is if the food, instead of being fair food, was barbecue. If I had that, what do you mean? Rides, games, barbecue, bonfire, fireworks, bitter cold of winter. Are you freaking joking me? So it's literally like my favourite thing ever. And so I've always loved it. It's always been my favourite, and I thought we'd delve in. And so you guys all know we've been talking Catholics, Protestants, because this is what it comes down to, the Catholics and the Protestants. Right? And I don't know why I'm in such a silly mood. It's because I was just outside in the cold. I was actually talking to you guys, not that you know that. Yeah, that's so odd. That's such a weird thing. Like, it's so weird, by the way, making videos, because you're talking to people and you are talking to them, but then you're not talking to them in the exact moment, but then you are talking to them still. But then the thing is, when you're talking to them, and then the moment when they see it is going to be different. So you're going to be doing something else, and then they're going to read it, and they're going to, it's just crazy what we're doing here. But anyways, I was outside in the cold again, and it was nice and cold, and then there was a light little bit of rain. You'll see it in the video. I was talking about my feelings, and I need some advice from winning team members about my emotions. Okay, so anyway, so the Catholics and the Protestants, they were basically at odds at this stage of the journey that we're on now, because obviously Martin Luther turned up in Rome in 1506, talking about what the hell, seeing what was going on, and starts to call them out. He's written all his theses, and he's all stuck it to the door of the church, talking about you people are hypocrites and heathen. He wasn't happy. And then that sprung this whole movement of this Protestantism that started to spread across Europe, which we discussed, and there's this whole thing of the change in the Christianity. And so we're seeing the Protestants coming out against the Catholics. And recently, yesterday, we were specifically talking about the Catholics and how they were like, oh yeah? Oh, you think you did something? Guess what? We're going to hold the Council of Trent, which is going to go on from 1945 to 1956, I think it is, something like that. Yeah, and what we're going to do is we're going to establish principles. And we're going to say, if you're against us, you're a heretic. And we're going to send people all over the world to wherever there's Christians, to say, if you're doing this Protestant stuff, you're a heretic. And this is what the Catholics do. So if you want to see what that is, that was in the previous part. Now, if we fast forward to the 17th century and the gunpowder plot of 1605, only 99 years later, in London town, right? In London, we have the gunpowder plot. Remember the 5th of November, when gunpowder, treason, and plot. I see no reason why gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. I don't care. There's something dark about us learning that at 7 years old in primary school and all chanting it together on the November the 5th. Something creepy about that. I don't care. I don't make the rules, because if I did, I would... No, just joking. But you guys get it. Sorry. Is it not me who just thinks it's not creepy? I find that creepy. Why are we chanting this Anyway. So now we're fast forwarding, because this movement spread, and it turned itself out differently in different places. So yesterday we weren't even there. Yesterday we talked about the fact that in Frankfurt, Germany, that's kind of what sparked this whole rise of the Rothschilds, because the Christians were all treating the Jews as peasants, of which that's where, Mayor Rothschild, the father of all of the Rothschilds, went through all of this and was like, never again, never another one of my children, never again in my bloodline, never again. And lo and behold, we're all still living in the results of never again. I may get these videos taken down just for the sake of that very never again, just for mentioning the names and the belief system that they have. Will get you not just cancelled but deleted off the internet. So I have to be so careful. That's why I never talk about that group. You might notice there's one religion I never talk about. Not in at least loads of detail. And So we saw the backlash of that, but obviously it's also spread to the United of Kingdoms where I currently dwell, and hence why even today Charles is considered the Church of the head of the Church of England. He gets to choose the archbishops, which we now know the bishops then choose the, what is it called? The deacons and the whatevers, which again is different from Roman Catholicism because the Pope is the only one who can choose the bishops. We talked about this yesterday. Get to know, do your revision and keep up, okay? Everything's linked in the description. So now we're going to what's happening in London. So the Catholics were persecuted in the 17th century due to threats that they were, due to the what is my handwriting? They were a threat to the state and social order. Protestants felt their loyalty to the Pope and monarchy made them untrustworthy. Oh, so I guess the Protestantism hit hard over here, which of course it did, because that's how we got to the Church of England, because basically everybody took Protestantism, right? And they made their own little, they did a Build-A-Bear. Right? So Protestantism was, I've always wanted to do a Build-A-Bear, guys. I've never done a Build-A-Bear, and I don't care how old I am. I will go to Build-A-Bear, and I'm building a freaking bear. Okay? Everybody, I want to go to Build-A-Bear. Anyway, everybody done a Build-A-Bear, right? So Protestantism was like the bear, right? And then everybody in the different European countries built their own bear. So here it became Church of England, you know, and all of that, and so on and so forth. That's why we have all these different denominations and all that. We've talked about that. So in England, obviously, I guess the Protestants were like, we don't want you because the Pope and the monarchy, their loyalty to the Pope and the monarchy made them trustworthy. So that's interesting, the Pope and the monarchy. So that means that the monarchy, so this goes back to actually something I've talked about at length on this channel many times, about how the system works in this country with the government and the royal family. And this is, again, quite fascinating to talk about, isn't it? Right? And the current climate of things. Because I've said to you guys that the monarchy only really has power at this point by the fact that everybody believes in them. It's like it's not real. Like the power that the royal family has isn't really real. And I'll tell you why. The people who make the decisions and who are aware of all the policies and stuff is the politicians. These guys are just figureheads, and they just go around shaking people's hands. They're not the kings of yesteryear. They're not the strategists, the Mayor Rothschilds, the Napoleons, the whoever's of the days before. Yeah, they're just people who were just born to be here, and they were just happen to be born in the right place, right? So the thing about that is, historically, obviously, they used to rule in this country. But the thing is, because the people favoured Parliament, the government, they now kind of always side with the government, even though they technically have more power. Which, by the way, I just want to remind everybody that the king is above the law. The king is above the law. The King of England is allowed to do illegal things, by the way, and it's not considered illegal. He's considered above the law. I just want everybody to remember this, right? In the grand scheme of everything happening in the world. Anyway. So, you know, they have to, they in the end had to kind of like support Parliament, because if they didn't, it's not looking good for them, because the people are siding with Parliament. They're like, oh, we like these Parliament people. We like them. So that's why Parliament has become so powerful. And when you talk about power and running the country, it's more about the Prime Minister than it is about the royal family, even though technically speaking, King Charles can override anything the Parliament says, and technically speaking, he still has to sign off on all the new laws and everything. So it's quite fascinating that in this part of this storyline, we're saying that, you know, the Protestants saw both the Pope and the monarchy as a threat together, which makes sense to me once again, in a similar way that the Rothschilds and whatnot makes sense to me. Because why? Because you have people who are wanting to hold on to power, because if they hold on to power, the threat of the other side taking over is a huge deal for them, which is why I think that the royal family is quick to do things like they have the media always they have a media party there at Buckingham Palace or whatever, and all this. They're very in cahoots. They control whatever the media says about the royal family. The royal family's approved it, so it's just all a bit like there's nothing to trust there. Also, this is why I believe they were quick to come out to Andrew, right? And again, it's a perfect play for the world, right? They're putting on this performance, then the world goes, wow, look. Especially, unfortunately, our friends over there across the pond. Even England is actually doing something, making arrests for people on the Epstein list. It's like, no, darling, you missed it. The royal family needs to keep their hands clean because they need to keep the jury of the sheeple on their side. So they are scared to lose, right? They're scared to lose the public, especially my generation. There's a whole thing about how, you know, the younger generations don't give a crap about the royal family and how it's because as soon as the people decide we don't need a monarchy, right? It's done for them, because then also the questions are going to come out of like, well, why, what do we, they brought all this money, what are we doing? What are they even actually offering? Especially like when I said, whether I agree with the government or not, they're the ones doing the do. They're the ones sitting there having the meetings with the policies and all of this. We don't see King Charles going to war. He ain't going to no war, no time. It's going to be our generation going to war, which is a problem they're having now because they're thinking about doing drafts and stuff here because of the state of the world. But then again, you're going to have to because it's a very volatile situation in this country, as I'm saying. It's very volatile because the monarchy is holding on to power. The government has gotten too carried away with whatever they're doing. The people they need is my generation. But you see, my generation, because of how everybody screwed us, we just don't have anything left to lose. So we're more likely, I believe, it'll be easier for me to start a revolution than it will be for them to convince my generation to join the army. Because why are we going to go and then kill ourselves for you sick, twisted people? You can't even fight yourselves. Back in the day, kings would be the first ones on the scene. They would be fighting the front right there with their men. And now what are you doing? Just getting fat in the palace and going and eating kids and hurting them on Epstein Island? Excuse me. No thanks, mate. I think we'd rather our chances, if we're going to put our lives on the line, we'd rather put our lives on the line for justice. And I'll be the one to say, if they start doing this draft thing, you know what, I might as well just let it happen. Let them train everybody. And then I'll be like, okay, so now that we're all trained and we all know what to do, here's something worth fighting for. Maybe that should be my strategy, you know, in the game of life. So it doesn't surprise me, the Pope, the monarchy, again, holding on to power. And it's the same thing we saw from the beginning. Think about it. When the very foundings of the church, all the way back in the 3rd century, what did they do? The emperors of the empire. Now, yeah, I've been thinking about empires. I'm thinking of the most recent empires we've been having. Okay, British Empire. Okay, British Empire. The emperors would always go buddy-buddy with the Pope, because then the Pope was obviously swaying all the religious folks and was seen as this religious leader, the closest to God, right? Which, so those people who believed in that, if the Pope, you know, signed off on the emperor, then the people would also receive the emperor well. And then the emperor had the forces to defend the Pope, whatever the Pope decided to do. It's kind of the same thing. You've got the royals siding with the Pope, because again, the royals saying, oh, the Pope, this is what we listen to, this is whatever. And then the Pope being like, okay, and yes, I acknowledge that royal family, and they protect each other. They can both do whatever they want at the mercy of the jury of the sheeple, who is now excited because why? Protestantism has been given this idea of freedom and everyone's been living in slavery. Interesting. So the gunpowder plot of 1605. A group of Catholic conspirators. So I just want to also point out how, can you see how quick it's actually possible to actually create change when people are actually deadly serious? All it took was Martin Luther arriving in 1506. And 100 years later, look, there's a whole new movement worldwide for Christianity. So I'm saying the Christians of today were weak, and the fact that we're just happy to like go and have a conference and go and have this and go and whatever. And that's what we're happy, we're going to die and go to heaven. And that's what we did. We're going to get to heaven. We're going to put our stamp on history. All of history, all we did was, oh yeah, we went to this, we did this conference. I fasted for 2 weeks and yay. You know what I mean? Like, it's, anyway. The gunpowder plot of 1605, a group of Catholic conspirators tried to blow up Parliament, making it seem like they really were dangerous. Oh, so it was like a setup. Oh. A group of Catholic conspirators tried to blow up Parliament, making it seem like they really were dangerous. Oh, it says Pope Pius V excommunicated Queen Elizabeth I. And I forget what excommunicated means. Oh, for flip's sake. We're going to have to get definition, aren't we, guys? Oh, done. Lol. And can you imagine that the actual exact example that comes up on Google to use where the word excommunicated is used, it says Martin Luther was excommunicated by the Pope. The literal story we're talking about, guys, I cannot make this stuff up if I tried. I could not. Also, funny side note, so I've gone into my computer, and I've got the little tab that gives me the update of people like that. I've only got my post notifications on for a couple people on YouTube, yeah, one of which being Marcus Rogers, obviously. And the fact that he's talking about a Drewski skit is just sending me, because this is what I respect about him. Like, he will address the things happening in the world and not be like the church of today, like, oh, well, we can't talk about this. And my favourite thing about his videos, because I haven't been watching a lot of them recently, but then I have been, is he keeps saying in his videos, you're just not, it's like he's had enough as well. He keeps telling people you're not a Christian. Like, that's not a Christian. You're probably not a Christian. And I'm like, yeah. Because I've been thinking the same exact thing. I've been having that feeling of like, God, these people, am I wrong, or are some people just who think they're Christians, they're just actually not, and we should actually maybe just say that for their own sake, you know? And you guys know I'm not know anything, but hey, I'm not at least trying to tell myself I'm some good. Anywho, Queen Elizabeth was excommunicated. I wonder why. And this is 3 generations after Henry VIII. So why was Henry VIII able to get away with craziness, but now we're going to excommunicate Queen Elizabeth I? Anyway, she was the last Tudor monarch who died, and she was succeeded by King James VI, I guess, and first Scottish king to rule in England. I love Scotland. You guys know I love Scotland. It's another place I've been thinking about going, because I just love Edinburgh, and like low-key I could just hop on the train right now and just go to Scotland, or just hop on a plane. I could probably book a flight tonight. But nevertheless, we'll stay our little booty here. If you want to know why I'm saying this, you have to see my other video I did where I was talking about obedience and whatever. But anyway, for years Catholics had been persecuted for their faith by Protestants. That's interesting. With the new king, there is a new hope, because he was the son of Mary, Queen of Scots. It remains illegal to practice Catholicism. So it's illegal at this point to practice Catholicism. I wonder why. So the mastermind of the plot was actually Robert Catesby, and his birthday was, or was this his birthday, or was this the date? I think it's on the date. On the 20th of May, 1604, they plan to blow up the House of Lords. You know, when I talk about like how there's a situation that could have gone down where some of us could have ended up, you know, sharing vows with a certain individual in the government. They may or may not, cannot confirm nor deny, be in the House of Lords of today. They plan to blow up the House of Lords on the state opening of Parliament. On the state opening of Parliament, the King, royal family, and all the chief ministers would have been there. Fawkes is a former soldier and gunpowder expert, okay? And that's interesting again. You know why that's interesting again? Because we were just talking about how in the transatlantic slave trade, you see what I'm saying? You got to look at all of history from every lens at the same time. And that's one blessing I've had from the life I've lived, where I've lived in different places and I've lived amongst different people. You know what I mean? And sometimes I think about how funny the situations I find myself in. Like, I've been out on a night out having a woohoo. I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, what was that cocktail we used to make with like the local Essex girls, the white Essex girls, and we go out to the pub, we're all dressed up and we have a woohoo before we go out. And this is drink and it's got like cranberry juice. So I can never drink another woohoo for the rest of my life, by the way. And I can go out with them and have a good time in Essex. I've also been in London with the flipping Afrocentric, hey, a Nubian queen, and all we have is books written by black people, and we don't even say Jesus, and we don't even, you know, and I'm the most blackest of the black. I've been hearing worship music in, like, I don't know, 8 African languages I probably know, African worship music, and I've heard the widest. I know songs in so many languages. I know songs in Punjabi. I know songs in now Italian. I know songs now in Polish. Like, I've seen so much of the world. I met so many kinds of people and so many different cultures that I feel like this is why I see things differently to a lot of people, because I'm not just looking at it from one lens. I'm looking at everything from every lens, and it's putting it all together. Like I said, it's so much context that you can see when you look at what was actually happening, because as this Protestant movement is happening, what are we doing in Africa? We're freaking selling our own people. What the hell? What the hell on? You know, because of what were we also getting? Because we were also getting gunpowder from England. We talked about this. We were getting from the UK gunpowder and guns from America, I think. We were getting gunpowder from one and guns from the other, while we were sending off slaves. So it's actually kind of crazy when you put it all together. Anyway, so it makes sense. Now, I want to unpack something, because I feel like I'm missing something here. So succeeded by King James the Sixth. I don't know, I'm not good with my Roman numerals. First Scottish king to rule in England. For years, Catholics had been persecuted for their faith by Protestants. With the new king, there is a new hope. Okay, so am I to believe that the prosecution wasn't at the... Okay, because obviously the royal family and the Pope are in cahoots. And so I guess the royal family... Oh, this is interesting to think about. So I guess then the royal family... Because how can the royal family be in cahoots with the Pope, but then the royal family and the Pope are in cahoots, and then they're supporting Catholicism? But then the people don't want Catholicism. The Protestants don't want Catholicism because they're saying that that is going to favor those people's agenda, but they're living under those people. So does that mean that the Pope and the royal family were just supporting each other but didn't actually care about the people, which is what I already suggested anyways in this video? Is that what we're saying? Like, is that what we're actually saying? Are we saying that despite this, because how could Catholicism be illegal? So they must have already established the very systems I'm talking about. So that must be why they want to blow up Parliament. That maybe that's why. Fawkes is let me go back. There's something I'm missing. You know, like when you can just feel like there's something you are missing here. I feel like I'm missing something. Hold on, I'm gonna pause this and I'm gonna come back when I've actually thought about this. Okay, guys, this is so worth it. This is so worth it. This is so worth it. Okay, this is so worth it. It's all to do with Queen Elizabeth I and why she was excommunicated, and I thought it might have something to do with it, because you know it always happens to me, like when I have like a question in my head and I don't actually hone in and get to the bottom of it. This is like what I always say, like it ends up being the answer. She was the one who freaking turned the country Protestant. Okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to need to do a bit more research here, and we're going to come back for the next part, and I'm going to break down exactly what she did, because I knew I shouldn't just turn away from the question. Why was she excommunicated? It has to be a big thing. She was excommunicated because she made England Protestant. James was Catholic. James would have been in alignment with the Catholics. Aha! Okay. And this is why the laws were the way that they were. Okay. I'm going to put the pieces together. I've got to do a bit more research. Here I was thinking, I keep thinking this could be the last video, but then there's always more. There's something about knowledge. I love it because I love like just delving into things with God and just getting lost in it. But then it's also so humbling and a reminder of how dumb we were in the garden to think that just because we had access to knowledge that we had simply had the time or the capability to take it all in. So I'm going to do this. Come back, guys, for the next part where we're going to clarify why Queen Elizabeth I was excommunicated, what that had to do with this, because I just need, there's something I'm missing here, and I'm not going to be able to feel like we finished this without getting to the bottom of this, and then all we'll have to do is just talk about what actually happened at the plot, because yeah. Anyway, so guys, stay tuned, because if life's a game, it's made to win. I love you people, and I love that I found people that are actually here to care. This is the perfect example of what I mean when I say that. I'm so grateful to have people that actually care about the things I care about, because who the hell else cares about this to this extent? I don't see them except from you lovelies right here listening to me. I love you guys so much. Also, the sun is setting, so happy Sabbath. And no, the lighting situation isn't going to change, guys. Listen, know where you are. Know where you are. This isn't a production. This is just me and my phone camera. That's what we do here. Okay, the value is in what's being given, I hope. Anyways, you guys, I love you so much. I love you. Let's play to win. And God bless you all. God loves you. I love you.